Hey everybody, what's going on? It's wilkyb, and in this video I'm talking about map design in turn-based strategy games. And it's not going to be a very nice video because, in my opinion, turn-based strategy is not competitive. Deep down, that's what I really think. And deep down, even further than that, I think that turn-based strategy games in the year 2026, pretty much all of them, they don't support competitive PvP, 1 vs 1 competitive gameplay. And the website that does it best, that doesn't even make money at it, is Advance Wars by Web. These guys do competitive Advance Wars the best. Any game that's actually been released that is sold on the marketplace, they don't support competitive gameplay because this game, as it's been developed for the past like 25 years, people just keep recreating the cartridge Advance Wars game that was not originally made around PvP. It was made around storytelling in the campaign mode. So you'll notice with a lot of games in turn-based strategy that have been released since Advance Wars, they don't do PvP very well at all. And if you actually think about it, Advance Wars doesn't do PvP very well at all either. The cartridge game doesn't do PvP very well because that wasn't what was intended for people to play this game one-on-one competitively. So now that we're in the year 2026, the game that does PvP the best for turn-based strategy is chess, #1. And then after that, in my books, it's Advance Wars by Web. And the reason for that is because Advance Wars by Web actually, if you think about it from a developer's side of things, Advance Wars by Web actually supports competitive gameplay because people here think that this game is competitive. And honestly, if you were to ask the developers you wouldn't get this answer from the developers. This is my honest opinion about Wargroove and turn-based strategy games that have been released, is that they're not competitive. And so what happens is, because they're not competitive, the developers kind of know that there's not going to be a lot of people playing it competitively. I think a lot of people that go into developing this game, they start to realize that this game just isn't really that competitive, although there's a big audience for it who thinks that it is. And that audience is live and well. Competitive maps on Advance Wars by Web and across this entire genre are not as complicated as they are presented to you by the people who have a vested interest in you believing that their maps are complicated and complex. Across this entire genre, maps are not complicated, maps are not complex. And if you want to know, if you want to have a taste of what a complex map on Advance Wars looks like, you can join my Discord channel and you can talk about it with me there. It's a really complex situation. The real hurdle about this whole situation isn't about the proof that I can provide to you. It's about how I'm supposed to palette these proofs to people so that they don't get disgusted by the way that I present it to them. Because the map that I have, Help I'm a Rock version 6 on Advance Wars by Web, is magnificent. And when I say these kinds of things, people are just repulsed by it. Because people are so used to playing the cartridge game on Advance Wars by Web, or excuse me, from Game Boy Advanced, and the map design on Advance Wars by Web has basically been recreating the cartridge game for the past 25 years. So there's a lot of stuff to open up there about competitive map design. If you appreciate the standard of proof that I've developed, that I've expressed in a number of my videos previously, so this video is in address to game designers, people who are serious about turn-based strategy. So if you're serious about designing a game that, first off, if you care about designing a game that is successful, you don't need to care about the PvP portion, because you can see that Wargroove is successful. Maybe for a year it's successful. The problem with these games in this genre is they're successful for like half a year and then they die completely. And then Wargroove 2 comes out and people, throw a bit of money at it and then it dies. And that's because it's not competitive. It's not PvP oriented. And that's because it's really hard to do that. And similarly, it's not necessary to do this. You can release games to this crowd of people who just want Advance Wars, but they don't want anything new or innovative. They don't actually want competitive maps, different than the kinds of maps that this map committee on Advance Wars by Web presents to them, because it's the most relatable to the game that they grew up with when they were kids. And they don't want to let go of that. People in this genre, and in this community, Advance Wars by Web in particular, are more glued together by the community aspect than they are glued together by the fun of playing this game aspect. And I mean that. And I'm speaking on behalf of people here, which is really controversial. So it's tough, because when I make these kinds of videos and trying to communicate with game developers about how they can make their game better, it spits on the audience who love this game right now, who will genuinely, honestly tell you that they love this game. But they keep playing the most boring competitive maps, and they keep burying their feet in the sand against people like me, which makes it even more difficult to make my ideas palatable. Like, the person who's listening to this video right now, if you know about this controversy that goes on in this community around me and my map designs, it's dangerous to communicate with me. If people learn that you're communicating with me, you're fighting an uphill battle, which is too bad. So I've been of the idea that I'll make a game of my own in my lifetime, but honestly, I've been doing a bit of research on game development, and it's hell. It's complete hell. I'm not going to go through my entire lifetime developing a game and developing these skills that I don't have for nothing to pay off, because there are lots of really amazing, significant ideas out there that will never make it to the surface with respect to game development. So I'm just communicating my ideas so that I can actually see a competitive turn-based strategy game come out in the future, because I don't have the ability to do that. I can communicate with people, but if you communicate with me and you're developing a turn-based strategy game, you cannot be met by the public knowing that you've been communicating with me, because people hate me so much, because I break apart this community that they're so comfortable with that doesn't play competitive maps. They play non-competitive maps. And when I tell people that they're playing maps that aren't competitive, that are just really replicable and they're very boring, there's not a lot of variety, like at all, to the kinds of competitive maps that are played on this website. So there's a big hurdle, a big social hurdle that game developers will have to overcome, because there's so many people who are so committed to this design of map making that has been reproduced for the past 25 years, that has been reproducing non-PvP type maps that have been released with Advance Wars in the first place back in 2001. So yeah, so game developers or people who are just interested in what I'm talking about here, I can introduce you to my map, Help I'm a Rock version 6, and I can introduce you to it about how it works and how it's really amazing and how it's very different from all other maps that we've ever seen. I have other videos describing why it's very different and describing why people don't really react to it very well, and also why people don't react to me very well. Generally, I'll say things that are just very disagreeable in this community, and I can understand why. Is, like I've said, there's such a huge community, and they're so committed to this map committee, and people have said nasty things about me in the past, that it's just a huge social hurdle that you have to overcome at the same time you release a game that is committed to PvP. Introducing that idea to people in a palatable way is going to be very difficult, because people are so used to playing the Fisher-Price version of turn-based strategy, which is Advance Wars by Web, Wargroove, Warside, and not to shit on you guys, because you're doing such good work out here, but the games are not competitive, and I know what it means to make a competitive game in turn-based strategy. So come talk to me, be quiet about it, join my Discord with an alternate account or something, because or don't, just be straight up about it. That's what I wish people would do. But in my experience, doing things like this, like, let's be honest here, the internet is the perfect place for people with schizophrenic, like, multiple personalities with multiple identities online. That happens on this website. People who I interact with, I'm not going to say too much here, but people, like, it's so easy to go off the cliff of saying crazy stuff where I can't prove who's behind actually saying it. And so you kind of got to be careful about who you interact with, and who knows who you're interacting with respect to me. So just be careful. If you're a game designer and you take what I say seriously, is that this genre is not competitive. It's not. And if you say things like this, you get dragged through the mud, your reputation gets destroyed by people who are protecting the original cartridge from 2001. So anyways, that's what I have to say in this video. For people who are interested in developing games, reach out to me. I'm serious. I don't have the ability to produce a game, and all the games that I see being reproduced are successful, but they're not competitive. And then they die. They die after like 6 months, these games. They all die because they're not competitive. So people will keep trying to make competitive maps, and they'll keep running into the same wall because of the map committee on this Advance Wars by Web. Like, this entire genre is so cursed by the own society that claps and cheers for these maps that are just reproduced the same, and it's just not competitive. It's insane. It drives me crazy. And when people come to my Discord and they start to get a whiff about what I'm onto, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty appalling. So yeah, so I'm onto something here if you want me to describe it to you, and I can help you integrate it into your game. And I can describe how games have been released. So anyways, I'm excited about stuff, so just reach out to me, join the Discord, and I can show it to you what I'm talking about with proof, with replay proof, with a standard of proof that is... The standard of proof in this community is pointing to the Bible of map making, which replays is a form of proof. It's a physical phenomena, but something that somebody wrote is not a physical phenomena, which something that somebody wrote is the go-to reference in this community for map making, which keeps repeating the same kinds of maps being made over and over again. So come talk to me. I know what I'm talking about. So okay, wilkyb signing off. Thanks. Cheers. Bye.